Well, howdy y'all, and welcome to the Fremont Street Experience in Las Vegas, Nevada. Alrighty, fellow travelers, welcome back to Adventures of a Traveling Don and the finale of our Journey Across the West series. We are here still in Las Vegas, and I'm going to be showcasing the Fremont Street and downtown experience. We're going to go around not just Fremont Street, and kind of showcase some of the stuff around here that's actually kind of cool. And again, if you watch my last video here in Las Vegas, you know that it was kind of a budget-friendly. You want a true budget-friendly experience, you got to come down to Fremont Street because things here are definitely a lot cheaper. You can still lose yourself out here, particularly if you're being dumb with your money on the slots, but it's still a much cheaper experience down here in Fremont. So let's go and get something to eat first, and then we'll hit up Fremont. So for the first spot here in downtown, we've come to a place called Carson's Kitchen, and this has been around for about 9 years. And this was sort of like a project that was started by a man named Carrie Simon. Carrie Simon is, by Rolling Stones, he was known as the rock and roll chef. You know, he used to chef for a lot of kind of like those big 70s and 80s bands back in the day. And he's got a lot of places that he helped open up across the main part of the strip in Las Vegas. But he started this as kind of like a, as part of the revitalization of downtown, because downtown Fremont Street for a while used to be really bad. It was like crack dealers and, you know, shall we say, disreputable ladies of the night and stuff like that. And it's gone through a renaissance over the last 10 years. And you kind of see, to an extent, a little gentrification, but at the same time, you still keep some of that Fremont experience. And this is part of that kind of like upping the scale for downtown. Carson's Kitchen is a great kind of like looking spot. You come in, it's got an open kitchen. You can see them firing everything up. And Carrie Simon really in the United States kind of started all of that with his kitchens and his restaurants. So, but I went ahead and got myself a nice small bite to start off with here, and it is a pork belly, just purely pork belly, grilled with I think it's like a buffalo blue beurre blanc sauce. So it looks absolutely fantastic, and we're gonna try this real quick. Oh, first off, my pork belly is really tender. So juicy, and you get a little spice from the buffalo. That kind of like saltiness from the blue, and done in a beurre blanc style, it's just very smooth. Oh, that bite went down really fast. I'm gonna have to have another one because this is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so for my second dish, I got something sweet. And something about Carson's Kitchen is the fact that the way that they make things is to all be shared. They're not necessarily tapas style, because it's not necessarily all small plates, but usually, you know, if you're 2 people, you want to get like 3 or 4 dishes and kind of share amongst yourselves. There are certain dishes, I think the bartender was telling me that, you know, that'll fill you up just if you're doing it by yourself. But what I got for the sweet dessert is a glazed donut bread pudding, and this thing looks absolutely amazing. I mean, just the smell coming off it is fantastic. I cut into it, and it was so soft to cut in. So we're just gonna go dig right into it, and it just, look, it's like just lightly jiggly. Oh, smells so good. Oh my God, that just melted. That just melted in the mouth. That is amazing, and it's like, I think it has like 2 different sauces. If you look at it, it's almost like kind of like Two-Face or something like that, or yin and yang. It's got like a 3-rum caramel sauce and then a vanilla creme on glaze. It's just, holy crap, that is delicious. Ooh, that blows my mind. Wow, well done, Carson Kitchen. This is amazing. Okay, so we're back down here on Fremont Street, and we're gonna hit this a couple different times. I'm gonna showcase it to you while the sun's still out, and then I'm gonna showcase it to you after the sun goes down. So it's got two different phases to it. It's similar to the Las Vegas Strip itself. But during the daytime, you know, it's kind of a nice spot to just come out, chill, hang. Of course, you have the famous Heart Attack Grill right behind here. If you're over 350 pounds, you can eat for free. I don't know how healthy that is to actually be over 350, but you do eat for free. And that's where they have all of kind of like those massive burgers and stuff like that. So if you want to challenge yourself and get massive heartburn, there you go. Anyway, let's check out Fremont Street. So when you're on Fremont Street, most of the casinos here are actually, number one, a little bit looser than, of course, on the main strip. But also, they're one of the few places left that you can find nickel slots, penny slots, things like that, where it's not super expensive to play, and you can throw in 20 bucks and at least last a few minutes instead of, you know, 30 seconds. Also, specifically here at the Fremont Hotel, this is a great place to come to as well, because at the bar you can get $3 domestic beers, similar to Casino Royale in my last video on the Strip. So if you're looking for cheap places to drink, and then of course gambling, Fremont Street is a great place, particularly the Fremont Hotel Casino right here. So my $5, I actually had a little bit of fun. I was here for about 5 minutes instead of for, you know, 5 seconds, and I lost most of it except for 17 cents, which I can't even gamble because that's not even one thing. So, but yeah, max bet is $1.35, which is a lot better than, you know, 3 to 10 bucks. So I'm gonna take my 17 cents and cash that in. Actually, you know what? I'm actually gonna keep this 17-cent cash voucher, and I'm gonna frame this when I get home. But yeah, Fremont Hotel, check it out. So if you're visiting one spot when you're here in downtown Las Vegas, you gotta come to the Mob Museum. You know, the foundings of Vegas as it is today really started when the mob took over in like the 1940s, 1950s. But what's fascinating is this goes into the history of the mob in the United States, not just what eventually led them to Vegas, but how they got started. You know, places like New York, Chicago, where a bunch of immigrants came over, and because of the hardships and being stuck in slums and stuff like that, they had to kind of look out for their own. So they created gangs, and that eventually became mobs. And particularly during, I believe it was Prohibition, is where the gangs really started making the money to become the organized crime syndicates that they eventually became from the 1920s all the way through the 50s particularly. So yeah, it's fascinating history. So come on, let's check it out. You're gonna want to check this place out. And it's about 30 bucks for a general admission. So, but yeah, let's go learn some mob history. So as you move through the museum, you're gonna come across kind of like this whole section on the 3rd floor that is dedicated specifically to Al Capone and all the things that he did, particularly the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It's really, really kind of cool history. I'm learning a lot about this stuff. It's also fascinating to see how far the reach of the mob was. You know, at their height, they were all over the country, from Los Angeles to New Orleans, Saratoga to Scranton to New York to Milwaukee to Denver. It's holy, you just look and think back like, wow, the organized crime syndicates back in the day were something of a massive power. And the fact that they were in everything, the different types of rackets, hundreds of different styles of rackets and crimes that they were involved in. And just, you know, they were in Hollywood, they were in sports, they were in drugs, they were in prostitution. There was a lot of places that they ran solely as the main power, particularly back then at the time when major city urban police departments were still young and trying to kind of figure out what they were, and they weren't paid very much, so they would take bribes for extra money from the mob. It's insane. So one thing to be aware of when you're here at the Mob Museum is so they start you off on the 3rd floor, and then you go from the top going down. And it's basically kind of the way that the mob ended up working, you know, starting up at the birth of the mob. It was kind of like bright, and for them it was like, oh, this is something new, this is amazing. And then you have the rise of the mob. So the mob on the rise will be on the 2nd floor, and then the 1st floor is, of course, the mob on the run. So we're heading down to the 2nd floor to see where the heights of the mob truly were, and then we'll see where they ended. But first off, 2nd floor for the mob on the rise.
I don't recall.
I wouldn't remember.
I can't recall.
I don't remember.
I have no recollection.
I don't recall such a conversation.
Others pledged to tell the truth, but hid behind a 5th.
So kind of the whole thing about the 2nd floor is the fact that the rise of the mob led to the Kefauver trials, which actually happened here in Vegas, I believe in the early 50s. But it's kind of cool because as in like throughout the 1930s and 40s, as a lot of the gangs and mobs in all the other major cities were kind of like starting to flee and get away from that, they would all come to Vegas, because in 1931 is when Vegas allowed for open gambling. So they all saw kind of like a opportunity there to come in and make money, and at the same time escape from the major cities where they were starting to get cracked down on. So that's kind of like where the rise of the mob here in Vegas happened, because of all of that. If you're a little squeamish, this next segment that we look through, I would kind of fast forward or shut your eyes and ears, because this is sort of the mob's greatest hits and like some of their biggest, shall we say, murders that had massive impact both within the community but also within the mob world, because people that, like mobsters that, you know, either betrayed the mob themselves or whatnot, they got the worst of it. And it's, reading some of this, it's goddamn brutal. So just wanted to give you guys, you know, if you're a little squeamish about something, fast forward to the next part. Welcome back for those that fast forwarded. Yeah, that's, tried to keep it kind of quick and simple, but you know, in Vegas there's a saying that, you know, is better when the mob ran it. Maybe to certain extents when it comes to petty crimes and stuff like that, because you didn't want to steal from people that were coming here to the casinos from the mob. But when it comes to actual brutal murders and everything like that, it's definitely not like it used to be when the mob ran it, because boy, you step out of line, it's not pretty. So down here on the first floor is where kind of like the mafia and the mob within the United States and organized crime sort of ended in the form that we think about, and how it's since been replaced with all new global networks of different styles. And that's actually really kind of cool is they have this global networks screen here that you can come interactive and touch, and you can kind of go throughout the whole thing and press say, I want to hear about like the outlaw motorcycle gangs, you know, MS-13, like where they all started, and a lot of those like different rackets. You can kind of like go through and check all these different types of things of what's going on today when it comes to crime, and how much it's changed from the old days of, you know, what you see in Hollywood and how the mob used to work. It's all, you know, high tech now, and all different types of crimes to an extent, some the same but done in different ways. It's all very amazing just what the information they have here, and you learn quite a bit. Kind of makes you sad about everything that's happening in the world, but at the same time, it is a great educational thing. So, but yeah, that's basically what the first floor is all about. So the final part of your experience here at the Mob Museum is to come downstairs into what is their distillery style tour. So it's kind of like a Prohibition era style bar, and it's really kind of cool. You just walk in, you can check it out. It's, you know, dark. It's like mood light is fantastic. It's really swanky. You can get a cocktail. Now this is not budget when it comes to Fremont Street. You can get a lot of cheaper cocktails. This is 15 bucks, but it is well worth it because it is a craft cocktail that is just absolutely fantastic. It's the Tequileros cooler is what I'm having. So tequila, mezcal, hibiscus, cucumber, a little triple sec. I mean, cheers to you guys. Ooh, refreshing and nice. Well, after that rather sordid affair at the museum and all that crazy history, we're gonna go ahead and continue back down here in downtown. We're gonna go over to the container park in just a minute, but I did want to point out this spot here off of Ogden and what is this, 3rd Street. The Downtown Grand, particularly if you want to play blackjack, they actually have $1 tables. You know, if you're here on a budget and you just kind of want to play, definitely come to Downtown Grand for $1 blackjack. I'm not sure if there's any other ones. I'm sure there might be that have it, but they specifically do that. So I just wanted to point that out, since on the strip it's even nowadays hard to find $5 tables. You're usually looking at 10. But yeah, $1 blackjack at the Grand. So we made it to the container park here in Las Vegas, and if you've never been here before, I will say this is probably one of my personal favorite spots in the city of Las Vegas, definitely particularly downtown, because this is kind of like open air park where they've taken all of these old shipping containers and turned them into bars, cafes, shops, restaurants. It's really, really kind of cool. They've even made like a play area where they've kind of like have like these rope bridges that go in between some of the shipping containers. It's a really fun, kind of cool concept, kind of like hipster trendy. It's a lot of fun, and you can come here, you can get a drink, you can get something to eat. Particularly the food, not a lot of it is very expensive. You can find small meals for like $5 or whatnot. And drinks can get a little pricey to an extent, but it's more regular prices. You know, like my glass of red wine here, this is kind of from Slow Wines. It's here at Oak and Ivy. This is my favorite spot here in my favorite place in this area of Las Vegas. It's mainly a whiskey bar, but they they do have other stuff to drink, including this wine from Slow Wines. And you read the bottle, it actually has this this long message on there from, I guess, the original creator called Brandon. And he just basically created these wines in a bootlegging kind of operation when he was in college. So it's kind of funny. It was a great little story that I got to read. But at the same time, this whole place is kind of fun. It is partially for the family. You can come here, like I said, they got that play area for the kids. They usually have live music, as you can probably hear in the background. There is a lot that goes on in this small little thing, and the way that you find it is off of 7th Street and Fremont. And if you've ever seen videos of Vegas, you'll probably recognize mostly there's this big kind of like metal grasshopper. At nighttime, I think they used to kind of like have like jets of fire stream out of it. I don't know if they still do that, but you look for the grasshopper. So, but anyway, yeah, you ever in downtown Vegas, you gotta check out the downtown container park. It's a lot of fun. So I wanted to take a moment to actually give a shout out. I did this at the end of my last video here in Vegas, but it was literally at the end because I got the message as I was kind of getting ready to do the outro. But in the middle of this particular video, I wanted to give a shout out to my good friend Mia, who was supposed to be in this video, but unfortunately, she got stuck in that traffic from LA to Vegas, which on a Friday can be brutal, let me tell you. So, but anyway, I wanted to give a big old shout out. Mia, my dear, one of my favorite people in the world, my former roommate and one of my best friends. She's become my very, very first Patreon, and I do appreciate this support. And if you guys wanted to help support the channel and get some extra kind of like good stuff, particularly on the Patreon page, you always get the videos about a day in advance, as well as some extra things that I will put out. You can go ahead and sign up on my link down in the description, and I do appreciate any support whatsoever when it comes to the travels, and I do love making this stuff for you. So, but anyway, I wanted to give that shout out since last time I did it, but it was at the very end of probably is going to be a very long video for the Strip Las Vegas. So, but anyway, Mia, appreciate it. And now it's time to head back to Fremont Street because it's starting to get dark. Like I told y'all, a whole different world. Is the Fremont Street Experience, and as the name goes, it's not just Fremont Street, it's Fremont Street Experience, because it is a damn experience. I can tell you right now, I enjoy this place far more than I do the Strip because it's more condensed, there's more action, more stuff going on at one particular time. You of course got the entertainers, you got the live bands playing. At nighttime, the lights kind of come out, and it's just an absolutely fantastic time here. So, well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. And of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I'll get to those as soon as I can. If you have any questions outside of that in other parts of Vegas, I lived here for a couple of years, so I have some experience with what is going on in this city, and particularly great spots to go that I didn't cover in these two particular videos because I'm unfortunately out of time. So, but anyway, guys, if you liked the video, give it a big old thumbs up, and of course, if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I also do have a Patreon page and a Buy Me a Coffee account if you want to help support the channel. Links will be in the description below. But guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey across the West. I've got some big stuff coming up after this, but until we meet again, peace out. Have a great night.